every woman and relationship with facing problems.
It's okay, you can always lean on me. Relax your mind for a while. 'Cause there's nothing beyond infinity, but oh babe, my love is eternity. My love is eternity.
Um, I will be discussing on the little topic this evening about idleness. I've discovered that one major problem, one challenge that many homes have, the reason why there's so much toxicity in the marriage today, the reason why you see so much quarrel, so much fight, so much contention, it has to do with being idle. First of all, I would like to advise those that are not married yet, never marry a man that is idle. There's a difference between, okay, he doesn't have a job yet and he's up and doing, he's using his hands to do something, he's busy with his hands and trying to make sure that things work well around him financially, and he's kind of trying to make things stable with him. Or a lady that is not that because she doesn't have a job, she just this dependent on what the man has to offer or what a guy has to offer. This is for the singles now that are not married yet and are probably hoping to get married. Then for the married ones, yes, you have entered into it, you are there now, and you discover that there's so much contention in the home, everywhere it's tense. Most times, I think this is very common among men that are not really busy with something in their life. So, men that seem to be a bit dependent on the resources either coming from their wives or from help from outside or people around them. Most of these set of men have this is it because kind of mentality. They always they have this. They're so full of themselves. They have this pride, this ego, that at times you ask yourself if the they even have what it takes to keep up with that ego. You see them; they are always on the defense. They are always on the is it on the defense or they are always on the attack. Before you even say something, they assume that they already know what you want to say. They are always being hostile. They make them most times they make their house, their home, very uncomfortable for the entire family. Why? Because they have this mentality that is it because I am not able to provide. Now, to those this kind of men, nobody has told you not to do something. Nobody has told you not to be able to provide for your family. Your wife is not a hindrance, neither are your children a hindrance. So there shouldn't be a ground for you to come and vent your anger on. So what I advise is, people will say, but what if the man has tried and tried and there's no job in this country, and what do you want him to do? See, there's one thing I will always tell people: whatever you find your hand doing, do it with joy, as long as that thing is meeting some of your needs. I can't say all of your needs. As long as that thing is meeting some of your needs at that particular point in time, do it with joy, do it wholeheartedly. I came across a lady a few days ago, and she was actually selling popcorn. She met me. I was coming out from a grocery shop, and so I entered the car. I was about to drive away, and she just came towards me. She walked towards me. I said, my big auntie, my elder sister. Uh, I This popcorn, I'm producing it myself. So what will I do now? As I no see job for this country, as I no see work, now I say make I dey do this one. Please now abeg patronize me, buy. And I was looking at her. The reason why I looked strange at her is the job you are talking about is something you will do there. The business you are doing right now, the popcorn you're selling is, yes, it might not really be what you want. But the one thing that will also make progress to come with that popcorn is when you treasure it and value it and tell yourself that from here I'm going to make something for myself. That will make you have more zeal. It will make you have more commitment, and it will want to make you improve on that popcorn she's selling. But already she has already condemned herself, condemned the business, condemned as in made the popcorn business look very demeaning. And well, I actually bought from her. I bought one. She said, it's the only one you buy, and I bought two. And the only thing I noticed about it, I looked at it, the packaging was very poor. I looked at it and I said, well, auntie, I think what you should do is you making popcorn is not a challenge, it's not a problem, but I think you really need to improve on your packaging. I said, why not buy a better nylon? Because she just used this normal nylon that they used to tie all these amala and semo and all those stuff to tie it. And definitely people will look down on it. I know it's at the level she's starting. Do not neglect days of little beginning. As you are moving, you keep improving. I said, as you start selling, when you start making little gains, you can start improving on what you're selling. So I said maybe you can just get a better nylon that is not too expensive and not this one you're using right now to use to package the popcorn. And she said that, auntie, I don't have money. What did I do? I had to put her in the pocket and I gave her some amount of money. I said you can get nylon with that. This is to also encourage her, for her to understand that for the business she's doing is not okay. You can imagine somebody that such a person now that she's doing business, and she's already running down her own business, feeling like she's not deserving for her of to do that kind of business. She feels that okay is not a proper thing for her to do. So you can imagine if somebody like that have that kind of mentality towards her own business. Then imagine such a person is married and the husband is acting one way or the other, or maybe does a little thing in the house. You can imagine the kind of anger or the kind of bitterness that she will emit in the home. I'm feeling like she's worthless. So one thing that I've noticed is idleness makes a relationship very toxic. When you seem not to be doing anything, it makes it toxic. Now, what do you have to do? Somebody will like, okay, now you are saying idleness, and we did not see something to do. Start with anything. Start with anything. But the thing is, whatever you are starting with, I want you to have this mindset that yes, it's not, you shouldn't feel frustrated about it. Look at it as a starting point of something in your life. Because you might be looking for this white collar job, white collar job. One thing you should know is not everybody that will do a white collar job. Yes, it's not everybody that must work in the company. It's not everybody that must work in the government. It's not everybody that must work in the office. If everybody are in the office, there's nobody you buy things from in the grocery shop. Nobody you are going to buy things from in the market. There's nobody that will sell fuel to you at the fuel station. There is this mentality that people always believe, oh, it's only when I'm working with the government that I am successful. I've seen a lot of business men out there, a lot of business women out there, a lot of people that are not even learned doing one business you might just think is demeaning, and they're actually making monies. They're making their millions. So I want to advise couples: don't just wait until you feel okay. Because I don't have a job, that's the reason why my wife does not respect me. That's the reason why my wife talks down on me. That's the reason why my wife is looking down on me. That's the reason why I'm not being valued. No, 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 no. We don't think that way. So you learn to understand first as a man that is your responsibility to provide for this home. So the question here is not whether there's job in Nigeria. The question here is not whether you have the opportunity. The question here is not whether you are among those that were selected. As long as you have ventured into that relationship, first of all, understand that your family is your responsibility as a man. So it means that as a man, there's no job too demeaning for you. Because it's when you are idle, you sit down in the house, you're changing from one channel to the other, you're watching Big Brothers, you're doing this, you're doing that, you just stretch your legs, and you don't expect that woman that will go out there, come back after the day's work. You expect her to come inside smiling. It doesn't work that way now. You don't expect her. We are saying submit, submit, submit as a woman. Oga, love her. How do you also love her? She has needs. The family has needs. You don't just keep preaching submit, submit, and you expect the woman, after the day's work, she will go out there, probably travel for like 2 hours every day, just to make sure that. I see a lot of women now that are into this food stuff, whatever. Yes, they are graduates. You see them online, their phone, their status are always loaded up with things they have to offer people. They go to villages, they go and get some products, they are selling it, and you see them, they are happy. They are happy. They are happy going doing these things. Why? Because at that point in time, it's providing solutions to their financial challenges. And you, as the man, you just sit down, you cross your leg, and tell yourself that, oh, there's no job in Nigeria, so that's the reason why you're always indoors. You go from room to parlor, from parlor to, you are just moving from one station to the other, changing. You are watching all the football matches that is on DSTV. And that DSTV you are watching, somebody paid for it. And you are telling yourself that there's no job in Nigeria. There are a lot you can actually do. You are not better than that man that decided to start with just 2 modules of crayfish in the market. This same woman that will go out there and you will sit down at home and be watching television, you can also as well discuss with this woman and tell yourself that, oh, my wife, instead of this whole burden to be on you, why don't we try and spread it? Probably you can also assist me with the little, out of the little that you have. Let me start something. Let's share these responsibilities. Let me start something. It could just be, I've seen men that started with just few noodles of egusi, ogbono on the table in the market. Some is just vegetables. I've seen men that is just vegetables that they sell inside the market. Every day they go to the market. And how much is vegetable? Ordinary ugu, how much is it? How much do you really need to invest? Some of them, somebody will just sit down there now to write to me and tell me, but when the man does not have capital, uncle, you do not have capital. Your data does not dry on your phone. Airtime does not dry on your phone. It's not like you are using your status to even do any updates to boost yourself. It's not like you are selling, marketing yourself for any particular business. You are always on the phone. You can call for Africa. Once the airtime finish, the next thing you are looking for the next available 100 naira in the house to use to buy airtime. Man, wake up, Oga. Wake up. The reason why you will get up and beat your wife is poverty. The reason why your wife will see you do one little thing and the next thing her mouth start running like tap is still poverty. Because there's a level to which you get to, and the woman, when you are making some noise, the woman will just like, I bet, finish making the noise and let the thousands be rolling. When there's money in a relationship, look, for it to be toxic, it's very, very slim. It's not like there are no challenges there. It's not like there are no things like infidelity, challenges, no emotional traumas and all that. But I bet you that the issue of it being toxic is very, very slim. Why? Because there are times the woman will just like, well, make it carry wahala go. Provided when it comes, you give me what I want. And the man is trying to like, when you are feeling in charge, there won't be room for you to even start looking like somebody is competing with you. He's an idle man, a man that has used complex to finish himself and looked at it that he's just being inferior. He's that kind of a man that will see his wife as a competitor. I know that the women have been very happy. They will just be clapping their hand, tell them. Now, madam, I want to talk to you too. There are a lot of women that are also idle. They just feel like there's no job now in the country. So what do you want me to do? My husband, after all, my husband is working. There's nothing wrong with if you become a supportive system in the house. Women are actually supportive system, a support system in the house. There are little things that we don't really need to bother our husbands with. There are little things that our children don't even need to bother our husbands with. In as much as we say that those things are that in as much as we said that it's in as much as we said we are our husband's responsibilities, there are things that we as women should not even bother our husbands with. There are things that we should be able to manage or to take care of as a wife also, or as a mother in their home. So as a woman, you should find something doing. If you look at the book of Proverbs chapter 31, somebody will say, hey, I know she will mention it. Yes, in the book of Proverbs, it's not like the woman was just working to come and bring to the man. She was actually industrious. She had something to her name. That's why she could buy a piece of land with her money. As a woman, you ought to have what you call your own. There are things that I want for myself, and I just feel like if I ask my husband today, I ask him tomorrow, I become too demanding. And some of those things, I try and get it for myself. There's nothing more sweeter than you needing a thing and you feel that you can afford it. It's also one aspect of happiness in the marriage. It's one aspect of happiness in every relationship. Knowing well that whenever I need it, I can afford it. It's at my beck and call. I can actually get it. You know, feeling insecurity is a serious challenge. And when you are not able to meet certain needs, it brings about insecurity in the marriage. So knowing fully well that, okay, if I want ice cream, I might be coming back from work and I feel like taking ice cream. Should I start calling my husband that, oh, honey, I want to take ice cream? I can just be at the house during the weekend. I feel like taking shawarma. If he's not taking me out, I should be able to take myself out. So you see things like that. There are. It brings about you being fulfilled as a woman. Feeling like, okay, I'm not just a piece of furniture in the house. I'm productive. I am relevant in the house. Where your husband also comes and sees some things on the children, they're like, wow, they're looking good. And they say, daddy, mommy got it for us. As a woman, you don't just sit down, fold your hands, and feel like, okay, the woman has to do it all. So don't just clap and say, oh, I let the men hear it. So as a woman, you really also need to buckle up. I am one woman that believe in, yes, every woman should have what they call their own. It's not about you competing with your husband. It's about you finding fulfillment in your destiny. Before you got married, remember that you had what you call destiny. Before you got married to that man, remember that you also had dreams and careers. There were things you dreamt of. That is the reason why your father and your mother sent you to school. That was the reason why you struggled and wrote all those exams you wrote. Does it mean now that you are married that those then if you never wanted to have a career or a destiny, then maybe you wouldn't have even bothered going to even primary school. Why? Because you know that someday you're going to end up in the man's house and your office will be in the kitchen. So if you had those dreams of one day, I know most of us when we're growing up, they will ask us, when you grow up, what will you like to become? And this one will say, I want to be a doctor and I want to be a pilot, I want to be this. So what happened to you? Is it because you're not married? Then you can't fulfill dreams. Even if that particular dream that maybe you wished for, you came into a marriage and you discover that, okay, that dream is going to affect the managing of the home, especially when children are involved. That does not make you become handicapped or make you become irrelevant to yourself. So those dreams can actually come, but probably in another dimension or in another way. But that does not mean that you should make yourself unfruitful. So as a woman, you ought to be fruitful in the home. And as a man, you ought to find something doing with your hands. And when we do this, our children are actually learning from us. Men, when you become a burden on your wife, your sons are seeing it as being normal. You're actually teaching them what marriage is in another way. You are teaching them what responsibility is in another way. The daughters are also learning, growing into that mentality of it is a woman's responsibility to shoulder the responsibilities of the home. You are giving them a wrong picture of what a marriage should look like. And most times, that's the reason why we are still having the kind of marriages we are having today, because of things we learned from probably our fathers or our mothers. So let's change that course. And I know if we adjust a little and eradicate idleness from our marriage, being hostile and toxic will not come in. We're going to live happier than we have always lived. Thank you for joining me tonight. Once again, this is Every Woman with Christabel. See you next week, and God bless you. Bye.